this is an act from 4 to 6 each day.
Okay.
Okay.
For you.
I'm not saying I'm acting. I'm just saying it's an act.
I understand.
The gist of this show is an act.
Right.
Okay? So, yeah, the way Bob Saget's going to perform Thursday night.
He's got an act.
He's got an act, I got an act.
Well, I'm 100% authentic.
Well, I'm authentic, too. To having an act doesn't mean you're not authentic.
I hear you. Please don't embarrass yourself. I'm begging you.
What?
This guy's an icon.
I know he's an icon. What's embarrassing about
Just
that?
I don't want you to.
He'd probably enjoy it.
You're not on
You think
par.
he wants the regular talk show? Mr. Saget, welcome for joining us.
You can have a little fun, but don't try to put yourself in that class, please.
I'm not going to try to put myself in his class.
Thank you.
I mean, he's got a remarkable career. Over 2 million Twitter followers.
It's a lot.
I've got a paltry number. I mean, I got nobody following.
2 million. That's crazy.
That is crazy. So as we await Bob Saget calling us to come on the show.
Yeah, he'll be there.
You're a big Full House guy. Was he your guy?
I mean, I watched Full House as a youngster. I think everybody my age kind of did. It was the TGIF lineup with Family Matters and Step by Step and Perfect Strangers. It was all good.
Bob Saget with us on the hotline. We're talking about Full House, Bob. I bet
Right.
have you heard of that show?
I have. And you know what's weird is I started as a sports announcer, and then they found out how much I knew about sports, so they made me a morning talk show host.
Well, there you go.
Jobs in the first 2 weeks.
You'll be here in Wichita on Thursday evening at the Orpheum. Tell our listeners a little bit about your act and what you're talking about these days.
It's interesting. You know, you bring entertainment to people. Sports has been doing it a lot and helping a lot of people through this crazy time. And my stand-up is, I just am doing, I guess I'm not as blue as you would say, as some people would say, wow, have you seen him on Full House? Well, he's not that in his stand-up, but I did stand-up 15 years before I got the job on Full House, and then I've been doing it my whole life, stand-up. And I've just come to want to bring people together, because it was even before the whole quarantine and all this craziness we lived, I felt dissension in theaters I was playing, in different places, different cities. People were not happy. And I was doing stuff that was less political, and I was never a political comedian. I was more of a guy that would talk about stuff below your belt where it's safe, I just figured if I can make fun of my own jockstrap, nobody else is going to get offended. So I just kind of then dealt with, as life goes on, my stand-up now is really about experience that a lot of us experience, which is about being married, having kids, traveling, which I never thought I'd have 30 minutes of airplane material, but my God, how things have been. There's nothing to find humor in it is kind of the gift to be able to be of that. And I have a lot of new music because I've always done music in my stand-up. So the show's like a full-on show, and it's meant to entertain people and make them feel good. That's kind of what I'm doing. And it's irreverent at times, but it's really silly. My adult comedy is silly. It's made for like people that watch South Park, like 15-year-olds,
Perfect. So, Bob, we were just talking about how, Full House and the TGIF lineup. I was definitely not in tune back then when I was a kid watching that show with how adults felt about you. So do you feel like at that time adults were kind of, in tune with your comedy? Did they know you at that time for Full House? And when do you think that shifted, or has it ever, to now I'm more known for my comedy or as well known for my stand-up comedy as I was for that show, if that makes sense? I don't know if that came out exactly the way I wanted.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense, and I've been asked it before. And people who come to my stand-up already know what to expect, whether I've done 5 specials, so they've seen one of them, or a couple of them, or seen my comedy, I did 30 appearances on, different talk shows, on Tonight Show with Carson over the years, and Letterman and Conan, and pretty much everybody, Kimmel and Colbert, and, so people know me. And that question comes up quite a bit, but not really anymore, because now they know what they see what other TV fathers were like. They find out I'm the one you can trust. I might say a couple things on stage that are, meant for 17 and up, but otherwise I'm a good person. So it's people are knowing what they're expecting. But when I first started doing Full House, it was a strange transition because audiences would come and see me, and they were there. I mean, the places were full, but it was quiet sometimes for a couple of years, and then I figured out what was going on. I found my comedy voice. All the comedians were shocked I took the job on Full House. They're going like, well, how is he doing this? He's the best actor in the world. but we know that's not true. But I love acting. I've done a lot of Broadway and stuff, and I love music. I do a lot of comedy music. I won nominated for a Grammy for one of my specials. So it's like, and that was half music. So they're comedy songs of people. I used to love Martin Mull quite a bit, and I'm actually directing a documentary about Martin with Steve Martin in it, and Eric Idle, and David Allen Greer. A lot of great people are in it. Tom Waits is in it. Really cool people. So, I looked up to this guy, really smart comedy. And so I've grown up a lot. I mean, I'm 65 now, but I don't seem it. I have the maturity of a 15-year-old sometimes. But I'm tired of all the yelling and all the people screaming at each other. And, I'm from Philly, so when the Flyers would win the Stanley Cup, people would set cars on fire. And I went, okay, that's what politics is like now. So it's yeah. I just want people to realize that there's a lot of good. I'd like to think there's more good people than not good people, and bring that out in people and laugh at the silly stuff.
Bob Saget with us. He will be at the Orpheum Theater coming up Thursday evening here. Been, of course, a comedian for a long time, but that wasn't always your direction in life, was it? How did you get on the path toward performing, Bob?
It's really weird. It happened accidentally. I was going to be a med student. I went pre-med, but while I was doing that, I was doing stand-up comedy. I won some radio contest in Philadelphia for singing a song about bondage. And I was 17 years old, so there's a problem. That was my dad's sense of humor, was just sick jokes, and we had a lot of loss in our family, so we would do gallows humor that was really most people wouldn't do, but my dad could have been a comedian, but he was instead a meat executive with a supermarket chain. I guess that made him funnier. And then I went to film school, switched being pre-med, and then did stand-up, did improv comedy, made films, and then moved to L.A., and all of a sudden I was at the Comedy Store, and at 21 years old, met Robin Williams, and David Letterman was my first MC, met Richard Pryor. I was then in a Richard Pryor movie a few years later called Critical Condition, and Rodney Dangerfield was a friend, and I was in his Young Comedian special, the one with Sam Kinison. So, it's been an interesting path. I just kept doing stand-up through directing movies, through acting, whether it be in a movie, TV show, or play. I still love stand-up. It's like a hard drive. It's just what I do, and it changes. Every few years I become kind of different. I'm the same personality. It's an unusual personality, to be sure, but I think I'm in more of a conversational way now than just a bunch of one-liners. And I definitely wouldn't say a lot of this humor, a lot of the jokes that I would say back in the day, back when, I'm in Rolling Stone as a maverick because I was on Entourage and playing a nasty version of myself, and then on, different things that came out. There was a movie, The Aristocrats. There was my Comedy Central roast. All these things that were meant to be, here's a good boy gone bad, But truth of it is, I know I'm a good man because I see what great daughters I've made, and what beautiful young smart women they are. So that's why I found out even more so that that I can say I'm a good dad, not just because I played one on TV, but my stand-up just kind of keeps evolving, and I can't stop doing it. It's all 90 minutes of new material. I love it, and it just means more to me than anything. I'm getting ready for a new special, so that's why I'm on tour, and coming to that theater, the Orpheum, is, as you know, it's a hugely historical theater. You have everybody who's anybody go through there. And, Wichita is not just a great beginning of a song by Glenn Campbell,
We appreciate that.
Do people even know? Do the young people even know Wichita lineman?
Who cares what the young people know, right?
There you go. So we can officially cancel Gen Z with this interview.
Yeah. Yes.
It is
So Bob,
interesting.
yeah.
No, go ahead.
So Bob,
sorry.
you brought up. I'm sorry. You brought up David Letterman, and I was thinking, about how comedians coming up, young or old, I guess, really wanted his approval. Before that, it
Yeah.
was Johnny Carson. I think in a lot of ways, it was Norm Macdonald. Was that guy before he passed recently? Is there a person out there now who comedians are like, if I get that person's endorsement, if I make that person laugh, I've really made it?
I think it's been split up more because, when Johnny Carson, I did his show like 15 times, he just liked me. I was just so lucky. And I didn't do stand-up. I just sat and talked to the man and did funny bits, And when he was doing it, 35% of people watching television, of all television, were watching Johnny Carson. There was no cable. There was UHF, if you could hook up a hanger to the back of your TV. When I was a boy, we used a nail to watch TV. And then Letterman I'd known from the Comedy Store, and I did his show like 15 times, and he couldn't have been more gracious. And then I would do Conan's show. Today, it's so split because when someone's out promoting something, they're going on Colbert, Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, who's a friend, Seth Meyers, and a lot of these shows are skewed politically now because that's the humor of the times. We are watching at night, some of your best comedians. Trevor Noah has The Daily Show. So there isn't really one person that you go, boy, if I get on there, that's going to change my career. But if you're on with someone that gets you, if you're a young comedian coming up and you have a smart way of looking at things, and there's a few people that really are great. There's a guy named Sam Morrell. He's out of New York. He's smart and just intelligent comedy, and not in relationship comedy. It's not about politics. I find that so refreshing because we get all of our politics from the late night hosts, and they're all good broadcasters. Obviously, they would be on, but it's not like it was, as you know, one person. I mean, the biggest of all the people are radio people. Podcasters are the largest communicators on the planet right now, as you know.
Bob Saget, our guest, he'll be at the Orpheum on Thursday night. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about your relationship, first of all, with John Stamos, and then the relationship you guys both shared with Don Rickles, who's my favorite comedian of all time. And I saw your tribute to him on Jimmy Kimmel shortly after Don passed away a few years ago. And I just revered Don Rickles. I think he's the funniest human being to ever live. Can you just talk about him a little bit, Bob?
Absolutely. You got me. I got all chills and a tear in the eye. Stamos and my relationship is purely physical. He's just so handsome.
Well, you lucky guy.
All right? He's got the mullet. No, he doesn't, but he has a wig. He's a mullet wig. He's a brother to me. And I had directed Don Rickles. It's all 1 degree of separation at this point and with this question, because Stamos and I became brothers, and then through work, but more than that, we were like brothers. And he introduced me to Don Rickles, but I then directed Don Rickles in Dirty Work, Norm Macdonald's movie, and I was incredibly close with Norm, more so now than I even ever thought I would have been. It affected me so deeply to lose such a brilliant person, but a friend. And Don Rickles was the guy that all of us looked at because no one could be in a room if anybody does a deep dive on him and hear the way he talks to people. And they were roasting Martin Scorsese, and there's a great clip where he's talking and Julia Roberts says something to me. He goes, Julia Roberts, you're beautiful. You never invite me to anything. And she says something, and he looks at her and goes, you don't have any lines, Julia. Telling her not to talk. And it's, it goes against what people would say today. He's doing it in jest, but a lot of the humor was just saying that we're all the same by making fun of everyone. And it was the key to a certain time. But I believe that Don did change, and he did change with the times. And he would have so much to say right now and be just as funny, in teeing up how you can say things and not insult, not have people going, can you believe he said that about this group or that culture or whatever? Because his heart was so big and he was so fast on his feet. I hadn't seen him in about a year after we did Dirty Work, and then I ran into him in a restaurant, and I wasn't that close with him yet. This is 1999, and I was in this restaurant. He grabs my head, and we're alone. We're standing up. Everybody else is sitting down. Grabs me by the head and whispers in my ear, "I don't miss you at all." Just to tell me that he just didn't miss me at all. And that's what he was about. He was about doing these human, funny, special things that you wanted to be insulted by him. And as he got older, he lost his son, Larry, and then I just became closer with him and closer, and he was like just the love of the life of John Stamos and Jimmy Kimmel and a lot of comedians. For a lot of American comedians, he was, the king of just being the fastest, and just the funniest. So, and so biting, and the way he looked was so cute. It was like an angry egg yelling at you as he got older. But he was.
That's a good one. Thanks for indulging me on that one. I appreciate it.
Thanks for telling me how much you cared about him, because I respect that and loved him so much.
Well, we look forward to your performance coming up Thursday night here at the Orpheum. It's an odd time in the world right now, but funny people are funny, and thank goodness for that, right?
Yeah, definitely. We need the funny people, and we need to make people laugh. And I can't wait. Literally can't wait to be there and entertain the people in Wichita. I've been there before, but it was a long time ago. So I'm really looking forward to coming back. It's going to be fun because I change and it's an evening with. I'm not having anyone open. I'm just coming out and just doing it, So it's going to be just fun.
Well, we don't need to see Stamos anyway, right?
One time I had him come out, I was doing Bonnaroo, the music festival, which is all rock and roll, because my audience goes from like 17 until life support. That's my audience. I literally have every age group and diversity on the earth that come to my shows. And Stamos comes out at the end of my show after I do an hour and 15 minutes, and he got a bigger applause break than I did for doing an hour and 15 minutes. And I was so annoyed. It was like, so all I got to do is lose another 10 pounds, not eat, and then have a little work done on my nose. And that'll be it. No, it's going to be a lot more than that, Bob. You're going to have to, you got to fix the whole thing from birth.
That's hilarious. Bob, thank you. We'll see you Thursday night.
Thank you, and I want to see you guys there. You know back from the days where I would say, I'd love to have you as a guest, and then you'd get all of a sudden some steaks delivered to the station.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We miss those
days. Need a refrigerator? I'm sending you a refrigerator.
Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
I look forward to it. Thanks so much.
All right,
Thanks.
Bob Saget coming to the Orpheum this Thursday evening. Get down and see him. Tickets available at the Wichita Orpheum. We'll be back in a minute. Hour number 2, The Drive, KFH.